I'm Ron with Classic Model Trains. Welcome back to another episode. Today we are talking about the General 440 locomotive. Come to find out, there's a little bit of history behind this one. Western and Atlantic Railroad number 3440, the General, was stolen by Union spies in an effort to cripple the Confederate rail network during the Civil War. This American-type steam locomotive was built in 1855 by Rogers, Ketchum, and Grosvenor? I don't know. It's Grosvenor? What does this say? Grosvenor in Paterson, New Jersey. Yeah, got that. Today, the locomotive is preserved in the Southern Museum of Civil War and Locomotive History in Kennesaw, Georgia. I probably mispronounced that too. I mispronounce a lot of stuff that's over there on the East Coast. I have a tough time with the right words. But I did live in a town called Ypsilanti for a while. Tell you what, spell that one out. Not a lot can. This locomotive is listed in the National Registrar of Historic Places. Registrar. Register? Register. Register? Today we're going to talk about the Tyco General 440 locomotive. We're going to take one apart because it don't work. Fix it all up, run it around the track. Looks like they had a total of 4 locomotives that appeared in their normal catalogs. Now they had some collector's edition ones. I can't find any literature on those. The Western and Atlantic, which was available from 1959 to 1977, almost one of the longest running locomotive models available through Mantua Tyco. There was the Central Pacific that was available from 1959, and I didn't find any mention of it in the catalogs after 1968. I'm not sure if the Central Pacific made it to 68 or 69, but it definitely doesn't appear in the 1970 catalog. There was a U.S. military version of the General 440. It shows up in a blue color, available for 1961 and 1962. There was a Georgia Central locomotive, only available for 1961, 1962. Well, let's get into looking at this locomotive and see what we can do to get her whooped into shape. Well, let's get into this little General loco. First thing I noticed right off is that it's got a little drive shaft back over here, which means this has got a motor in the tender. Let's say to get this bolt out here, we got to take the trucks off the tender, which is fine. I was going to do that anyway because they need to be cleaned. We'll get this non-conductive drawbar out of the way. This locomotive appears to picks up power from the locomotive and the tender. Little drive line just popped right out of there. Save this guy. I want to take a look inside here. Get these front lead trucks out of the way, just because I want to take the body off. Little spring, little spacer. Comes off on that bolt there. Little things to roll around on the ground. That gets our body out of the way. Just got a little tiny gearbox up here, which runs on this gear right there. I wonder if this thing's got brass bushings in it. I'm going to say no, because this is a brown box era. I bet you if it was a red box era, I bet you it would. But we'll just open this up and just take a look anyway, because we're going to clean all these contact surfaces up. Golly. There ain't much to that at all. And no brass bushings. This little gearbox right here comes off and it's got some really smaller screws on it. These little screws are brass. It's kind of a bonus. Unless brass frightens you because it's soft. So if a guy gets to cranking down on it, you could break them, I suppose. Got some bushings up here in this drive line. So there's some thrust washers in it. Just the little tiniest one. I can see some thrust washers in there. These gears look like they're in nice shape. Oh, now what we've done. Now the steam chest has come apart. This will be an exciting adventure. Bend this little tab up. Get that to come out of the hole. This one's really big. There we go. Probably don't want to mess around too much more with those, you know, except for cleaning them up. One of the things I like to do when I'm taking stuff apart is I use these little paint trays right here you can find at the little craft store. Put all your little nuts and bolts and stuff like that in there. Or when you take apart certain items, you put them in groups. And that way it kind of helps you remember where everything goes. This screw here looks like it holds on that bell. This screw here holds on that bell. This one right here looks like it holds the cab on. Let's take that off. This does have a Mantua number underneath of it, 2309. I just like taking these things apart for you guys, so you can see what makes them tick. Die-cast cab, nice little weight in there. This thing is dirty as all. And there is no provision for operating light up here. There's nothing going up to it. So this is pretty much what you get with one of these Generals. Let's get back to this tender drive. Get this other set of trucks off. 4 screws that hold the tender body onto the frame. And here we have it. This looks like the motor. A little drive line just came out of there. Pentagon shaped, yes. So I paid attention that one day in geometry class. And this motor looks like it's held in by this one screw right here. And this looks like the motor that they used in all their steam locomotives. It just sits up like this and it's got a different drive on it. So this one, I don't know why it doesn't work, because the brushes sure look good on it. Get this little thing out of the way here. Let's pop these brushes out. And there we have it. We'll get this cleaned up. We'll use some of this Ghosts of the Minerals right here. Ghost of Minerals. Has anybody ever gone ghost hunting before? I have. Never caught anything. I always like to try to put this someplace without the lid on it, where I'll have the highest possibility of knocking it over. I got me one of these things here on the advice of that young feller up there in Canada that's got an unbelievably successful locomotive repair channel. And so far, this one doesn't look as good as his, because these tips, they break down real fast. I don't know if they're supposed to be out as far, or maybe I got a cheaper brand or something like that. They do a pretty dang good job. It's a lot easier trying to jam that bright boy in on these things. Scrape any residue that might be between these commutators. We will reinstall the brushes back into their original location. This one was a little bit of a pill to get out. We'll give it just a little taste of oil, and we'll see if she wants to run. Oh, it does not like this at all. Yeah. There's always a reason why you get them for cheap, when they won't go. See, it wants to go. Well, I say we go into it deeper. Oh, I just launched a spring onto the ground. Dang it. Lucked out. Found the dang thing. Plus, I haven't cleaned my floor since, the big boy. So, it's even dirtier now. Let's dig a little deeper into this and see what is going on here. What do we got to do? Thrust washer right in here. We don't want to lose that. Well, there's seems to be sufficient magnetism on these. So I'm going to set my meter to the horseshoe, and I'm going to check out these individual poles here. And it seems like every other one should have continuity. I think. I don't know. I just want to make sure. Of course, I'm not going to test the same one like this, because of course that in between the grooves. This one to this one. Uh-oh. Is that an open right there? That is an open. Yep. That's an open. This one here is open. That's too bad. That means somebody was nice enough to smoke this thing. They burned her into the ground. I wonder if it's shortened the ground. I wonder if it's not supposed to be shortened the ground. Well, now stand still. Well, this is... Now what do I do? I do happen to have this extra motor from when I repowered my Pacific and turned it into DCC with a new can motor. And it looks to be about the exact same, which is exactly what I expected. I guess I should make sure this one works before I go through the switching everything over. Oh, that's so much better. That's what I'm talking about right there. I'm gonna want to take this cone off right here, this drive shaft cone. Am I gonna get lucky? Ah, I did. I did get lucky. Well, I'll be. One of these wires is just underneath the brush holder being held in. And I'm gonna need this brush right here because it's got this wire welt soldered onto it. That'll put that back into service. This wire's soldered right to the brush. It's not picking up its current through the brush spring. Does pick up current through there though. Well, I got everything all cleaned up here. I cleaned up these brass pickup wheels on the tender with this little fancy pen here. When I was cleaning this, giving it soapy water, I noticed this right in here. That is a burn mark, heat from the motor, and it burned it down here too. So this thing, somebody just let it sit there and smoke and roasted that old motor out of it. So that's why the eBay seller sold it as a running locomotive. We'll put this back together now. Small screw and lock washer to hold this motor in. I don't think I've oiled up this new used motor yet, so we're gonna give it a little taste. I did clean up the commutator. Oh, that does feel nice. We will get this body put back on. I like to clean up the area right around here where these trucks ride at, because that's where it gets its current coming off the trucks up into this area right here. So if these are dirty, then you're not going to get full 12 volt or full DC power, whatever voltage you're putting to it. So we're just going to clean that up, make this just the best runner we can. Looking for that slow speed performance. Why don't you just crawl along? I guess I should have paid attention when I took this apart. What side these wheels were on? Well, give this a little taste. Get this little cover back on with the 3 tiny brass screws. I had cleaned up this gear and the drive gear on the wheels and all the wheels and stuff. I just did that off camera using the Ghost of Minerals. Clean off all the old oil that was on here. Okay, let's get this back together. These main drivers and these drive rods, pulled them off because I wanted to be able to wash everything up real good. And you see these little tiny hooks right here in the front of this thing? Well, they're gonna go right in here. Get our main drivers in, and we're going to give the axles just a little taste in through here and get this cover back on. So there's that. Get the cab back on the boiler, lining up these wonderful little brass wires, which look a lot better now. Here's something that's sure to start an argument. This nylon gear that's in here, this axle gear down here. You heard guys talk about this is a nylon gear, and nylon gears don't need to be lubricated. Well, I looked it up online. Sure enough, that's what it says. They don't need to be lubricated. So I'm gonna try this one dry and to see what happens. I cleaned all the grease out. The only place we got lube at is actually on the axle shafts themselves. So let's just see what happens. Just for something fun and exciting to do. It's always a joy getting these steam chests put on, timed in, whenever you can avoid it. Put in the drawbar. We will get the cab and the boiler put on. Up. Lost our steam chest timing. See, that's the fun of it all right there. Holding 13 things down at the same time and get your mouth just right. That's like what it took. I went to clean up these wheels because I thought they were really dirty because they looked like this. Come to find out, it's the silver paint flaking off of them. So these are plastic wheels. So they really went all out. One drive line, wheels turn. But now we got to fix this one valve gear over here. One survived, one didn't. So I'm to go off camera, glue this, let it set up. Remember, fellers, before you put the cab back together, you should put the weight in it. I tried it, the other way, and you have to end up taking everything apart so you can put the weight in it, so you can put it all back together. You can save yourself a step by making sure you put the weight in before you assemble the cab. I did figure out the trick on those dang hand railings up here. Put all this together first, and then put those little front hand railings in last. These things right here, put them down in the cow catcher first. Line them up with the hole on the side. It's going to want to fight you the whole way. Apparently these guys don't like each other very much. They don't want to be hanging out. You push it in. So that's the trick for that. Holy moly. That was easy. Now, I broke the valve gear on this side over here. So I just ended up putting a little glue on it so it holds it to this tab. And I figure, well, as long as I'm at it, I'll do it over there too. So now we've got that functioning like it's supposed to. Drive line here in the back, spin stuff. Everything seems to be spinning like it's supposed to. Hook this up into the tender. Drop our screws in. Get this truck in place. Power pickup wires in place. Yep. Second time tonight. Guess I got really lucky on that one. Traction tires, brass wheels. So the locomotive's picking up on this side, the tender picks up on this side. Now that it's all put together, should we put it on the track and see if it works? Aside for mowing grass, panhandling, and not going to visit my barber for the last couple years so I could earn some extra money, I do have one of them there day jobs. I have a mechanic facility that I own and work at. That's why my hands have got this wonderful beat up look to them, and they're all scarred up because I try to cut my fingers off at least every couple years. I'll try to see if I can hit the old wash bin up before I start filming. Either that or I'm gonna have to save up some more money and hire a hand model. I feel real confident in this one doing its job. So I decided to give it something to tug on. I think it's a little noisy. Maybe a guy should put a little oil on them nylon gears. I don't know. You tell me. Leave a comment in below. Do you oil your nylon gears? Or do you leave them dry? Or maybe some dry graphite. Maybe that'd be a bonus. Something like that. It's a pretty nice little runner. I wish that it would have had a better slow crawl. Pretty happy the way this turned out. No, I don't suppose it's made to haul a lot of cars behind it. This is actually my first Vermont and Truckee complete train I've ever had with cabooses and cars and everything. I'd like to thank AHM for providing me with the Virginia and Truckee rolling stock of the specific era. I don't think Tyco has these. So, doesn't do too shabby. One thing I want to tell you though, good fellers, listen up. If you've got any track that is not laid down very good at all, this thing will find it and derail itself on it. It does not do a very good job of running on poorly laid track. I figured out how to set up one of them there Facebook fan pages. If you want to reach out, it's Facebook.com/Classic Model Trains. If you like what you've seen, or you liked all of my other channels, please consider subscribing. I'm shooting for that 1,000 subscriber goal, which of course allows the channel to get monetized. And then I can tell my parents that this hasn't been a giant waste of time. I could actually, you know, make like $3 or $4 a week off of doing this, and that would be awesome. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.